The difference between thinking a thought and believing it is not a difference most people understand. Most people identify with their thoughts. Let's take an example. You're making your album and you're having a great time, and then a thought arrives and it says, you're not very good at this, and then you start to suffer. But you suffer because you identify with the thought. So if you imagine that thought arriving as if it was an outfit, and it kind of comes like, what is it that makes a thought come to you? Can you answer that? Because I don't know. Really, do we? We're guessing.
Yeah, true.
We're guessing.
True.
If it's an electrical impulse in your brain that occurs, can you stop it happening? No, you can't stop it happening. So therefore, it's something much more intelligent than you. It's something much more organic, larger, more important than you, that you cannot control. You can't control it. It's going to happen. In the same way that you can, if you were at a birth, you couldn't be like, stop the birth, we're not ready. Right? It just happens, dude. Right? So like, what I want you to imagine is a guy. Let's just imagine that you live in a house and there's a guy who comes in to put different dressing gowns on you, and you can either keep them on or take them off. But what most people do is the guy comes in. Why does the guy come in and put the dressing gowns on? Nobody knows. Don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't actually. You could spend forever asking why, but it happens, right? So what I want you to imagine is he comes in, he puts the dressing gown on you, and you go, okay, well, I have to wear this forever now, right? Or you go, I don't really like this dressing gown. I'm just going to take it off. So that's the difference between thinking a thought and believing a thought. You don't have a choice in thoughts arriving. You do have some volition in how you respond to those thoughts when they do arrive. So if you're making your album and the thought arrives, I'm not very good at making albums, you've got a choice in that moment, and your choice is either to put on that dressing gown and wear it for the rest of the album, or you take it off. So that's the difference between believing a thought and thinking a thought. Is when you believe a thought, you just keep repeating the thought in your head and you identify with it and you make it part of yourself. If you start to look at thoughts as useful or not useful, everybody would react differently to different thoughts. This is the thing. So one man could think, I'm busy, and feel confident and happy about that. One man could think, I'm busy, and feel stressed and negative about it. So it's either a useful thought or it's not useful, depending on your frame, your context, your understanding. So if your thought is useful for your mission, right? If your mission is, I want to make an album, and your thoughts are actively in pursuit of destroying that mission, your responsibility at that stage is to be vigilant about the thoughts that arrive and redirect thoughts that are not useful. And if you don't naturally find thoughts that are useful, you create thoughts that are useful. Now, the easiest way to create thoughts that are useful is just be really general. The more general you can be with things, the better, right? So what most people do when they are trying to get a thought to help them through a process is they'll pick a thought that's like, let's say your thought is, I'm no good at making albums. They'll pick a thought that says, I'm amazing at making albums, right? But why doesn't that work? It doesn't work because you think it, you don't believe it, and then that thought sort of becomes like almost it does the opposite of what you want it to do, because then it just creates a bunch of other thoughts that are like, no I'm not, no I'm not, no I'm not, no I'm not, and then you're just in a worse hole than before, kinda. So what you might think is like, has anyone with less talent than me successfully recorded an album before? Has anyone with less experience than me successfully recorded an album before? Is it possible that I could record an okay album? Is it possible that I could make an album that's not completely terrible? Statistics are a really good way of destroying fear, because fear is an unanswered question, right? Fear is a what if. What if I go on stage and forget my words? And then we don't answer it, right? And we live in that fear. And we're terrified. We're walking around. We're in our life. We feel just afraid constantly, right? But if you actually sat down and answered all of the questions, you'd realize that the consequence of the fear was not actually anything to be afraid of. Like, let's take it to the nth degree, right? Let's just say I have a gig in a week in the conference centre in Edinburgh, 2,000 seater, and I'm doing a new song, and what if I forget my words, right? What most people do is they go, what if I forget my words? Oh my God. And they just walk around with all this fear. What I would do is I would say, well, if I go on stage and I forget my words, what happens? What actually happens? I go on stage, I forget the words. Do I fall over at that point? Probably not. I probably stay standing. I probably then laugh a little bit. Maybe people in the audience laugh a bit. They don't see me as perfect. I made a mistake. I get to the end of the song. Do I acknowledge it? And maybe do I say, thanks for being with me through that new song, guys. That was special to be all together for that. And then I play another song that I do know the words to. Well, listen, what if I forget the words in one that I know the words to because I'm nervous? Okay, well, let's go to the end, right? Okay, I forgot the words again, and I'm embarrassed. My face is red. I'm sweating. I feel stupid. I look stupid. I leave. I go home. I'm in a very, very dark place. I feel very negative about myself and my abilities. I feel afraid. And I spend the night. I wake up the next day. I feel like hungover a bit. I go to my local cafe. I chat to my friends about it. And then I get a call from my daughter's school. Oh, she needs picked up early today. Swimming's not happening. I go there. How am I feeling about it then? I'm feeling kind of ashamed about it, but just still, do you see what I'm saying? Is like, you take this stuff, when you look at everything, when you actually look at everything, it's like your worst case scenario is a feeling. Your worst case scenario is that you feel bad. Have you ever felt bad for a long time before? The thing you're always afraid of the most is usually failing, and usually failing just means that you are where you are now. And where you are now is manageable because everything's manageable in the now. So then really it's like, if you can handle just being just having feelings, then none of it matters,